It's time for the Prete is On with Dave Prete here on 92.1 The Team, WCKR Hornell. Here's Dave Prete.
Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. Dave Prete. This is the Prete is On, 92.1 The Team. Want to welcome also here in the studio the man behind the glass, producer of the show, Brian O'Neill.
Hello there.
Brian, at the end of really week one of what has been, well, I guess you could call it a lockdown, a shutdown of a lot of different places, not only here in our local community, but nationwide with the COVID-19 pandemic. And really, it's been really a crazy week with, not having anywhere to go, anything to do, pretty much being confined to our houses in order to try to flatten that curve, as they like to say, in trying to kill the coronavirus. And unfortunately, there has been a couple of cases here locally that have been recently been diagnosed in the Hornell, or Steuben County, actually, in the Hornell community as well. So keeping our finger on that, and in order to combat that, people really need to take the directive of the national and state and local governments and hunker down, socially isolate themselves, and take the necessary steps to try to prevent this pandemic from spreading. Have you done your part, Brian?
Have been living, breathing, and eating here out of the studio pretty much nonstop, except for a couple of quick runs downtown.
Now, non-essential businesses have been asked to been asked 100% tell their workforce to stay home and or close down during this critical time.
Right.
The radio station here, 92.1 The Team, and also 1480 WLEA, is considered, however, an essential business, correct?
The media, yes.
Okay, so you guys are still up and going, and you're spending a lot of time in here, and, I'm glad that I'm able to do my show this week. But for a lot of people, they haven't been as fortunate. There's a lot of people here locally, and again, all across the country who, work jobs that are considered non-essential, and they've been temporarily laid off, not able to, make a paycheck. People who work in the restaurant industry and retail industry, and for those people, I pray for you, and I hope that you find a way to make ends meet during this very difficult time. But I'm very, very confident that this will pass, and hopefully quickly, if people do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So we'll keep our finger on that. But, yeah, the end of kind of week one of lockdown, we'll see how long this goes. And, of course, from a sports perspective, all the local sports are on postponement, from youth sports all the way up to high school and college sports. And I think that presents a time, maybe now better than any, to let's talk about some NFL. I mean, Major League Baseball is also on postponement. What is not on postponement was the start of the NFL free agency period. And what a free agency few days it's been in the NFL. Most notably, Tom Brady going to my beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brian, I'm a Bucs fan, and I want to say I feel bad for all the Patriots fans who lost arguably the greatest quarterback of all time.
Right.
Definitely Hall of Fame quarterback, 9-time Super Bowl quarterback, 6-time Super Bowl winner Tom Brady, heading south to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not a question of, if Tom's going to be the quarterback that he's been in New England, because honestly, I don't think that's even a question. I think the bigger question is he going to wear number 12? Is he going to get that from Chris Godwin? Is Godwin going to give up number 12? Because anyone, there's a lot of Brady doubters out there. There's a lot of Brady haters, and I understand that goes with the territory, being a New England Patriot for 20 years.
Do you know any Patriots fans around here?
I know a few.
Do you?
I want to say a couple of them were bandwagoners, a couple of them were not.
Right.
I do know a few. I've talked to them. They're obviously very disappointed, very upset because it's a very uncertain time in New England when it comes to football. The Patriots for 20 years, Brian, had Tom Brady as their quarterback. And everyone that knows football and knows, anything about Tom Brady knows that he got his chance in 2000 only when Drew Bledsoe went down with an injury. But man, what a turn of events that was when Tom Brady stepped in for Drew Bledsoe back in 2000, led the Patriots to their first ever Super Bowl victory. And, well, you can say the rest is history. So for 20 years, the Patriots have never had another starting quarterback besides Tom Brady. This is going to be the first time in 2 decades that the Patriots are going to have a different starting quarterback. Nobody knows who it is yet. Right now they have 2 backups on their roster, and to be honest with you, I can't even name who they are. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. Bill Belichick is still there. A lot of people had said, well, when Brady goes, Belichick goes, and vice versa, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Belichick is looking to carry this team into next season, but he's going to have to do it without Tom Brady. Now, as a Bucs fan, I couldn't be more ecstatic at this move, and for a number of reasons. Number one, because it's Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and whether you like him or don't like him, the guy is a proven winner. The only season that the Patriots did not make the playoffs in the last 2 decades was the season that Tom Brady got hurt early in the year and they had to go with Matt Castle, their backup. I believe that was 2008. He has made the playoffs every single season that he has started and played the full season. And that's pretty remarkable, especially in our day and age when teams go through peaks and valleys and free agents coming and going. So, yeah, I'm pumped. I'm very pumped to have Tom Brady in a Buccaneers uniform as a Bucs fan. The guy's classy. He's a winner, and it rubs off on everybody else on the team. Now, am I concerned that he's going to be 43 years old when he starts the season?
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's no spring chicken. I'm 46, Brian, and I don't think I could even – the last thing I would want to think about actually is stepping on a field taking hits from 300-pound linemen. But this is Tom Brady. He's a special kind of cat, man. He lives for this. He keeps himself in shape. He's got a pretty good-looking wife, too. That helps. I'm sure he wants to keep in shape and look good for the wife as well. However, the 43-year-old arm, if you were to tell me that was anybody else, I might say, yeah, that bothers me, but not with Tom Brady. I mean, this guy made the playoffs last year with a receiving core of guys who honestly are no names that I couldn't even name except for Julian Edelman. And Edelman missed part of the season. He had no running game, no known running backs. Still made the playoffs. Still won the division. It's Tom Brady. And from a Bucs perspective, the guy who he's replacing, Jameis Winston, had a pretty good season himself if you count the number of touchdowns, 33 thrown. However, throwing 30 interceptions in one season could have been more if you count the dropped ones. Really is just, it's unacceptable from a guy who was taken as number 1 draft pick 5 years ago. Jameis Winston actually still on the free agency market. I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe go to the Patriots. So you might see the 2 teams' quarterbacks flip-flop. But the thing that Brady, by the way, threw 29 interceptions over 4 years. Over 4 years, 29 interceptions. Winston threw 30 in one season. So the one thing that Brady has that Jameis Winston didn't have and doesn't have, at least right now, is the thing between the ears. The smarts, the intelligence. He's just a cerebral quarterback. He knows when to get rid of the ball. He knows where to get rid of the ball. He knows when there's pressure, when to step up, when to step to the side. It does help that he had a great offensive line in New England. That is one thing the Bucs don't have, that hopefully they work on getting him. But I'll take Jameis Winston 7 days a week, twice on Sunday, over I'll take Tom Brady, not Jameis Winston, 7 days a week, twice on Sunday, over Jameis Winston. Any day. So that was the big move for the Bucs. Actually, that was the biggest move in the NFL, the most noteworthy. Bucs also re-signed defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul, franchise tag Shaq Barrett, so they're getting 2/3 of that great defensive line that led the league in sacks. Second in the league in sacks last year. Bringing 2 of the 3 back. Hopefully they bring in Dominic Sue back as well. Let's talk about the more local team, though, the Buffalo Bills. Great offseason so far for the Bills. They traded for Stephon Diggs, who was formerly with the Minnesota Twins, gave up 4 draft picks for him. Now, you might think that's a little steep, and it could be. They gave, to be exact, they gave up a 2020, so 7th round. I'm sorry, they acquired Diggs and a 2020 7th round pick from the Vikings in exchange for this year's 1st round pick, 5th round pick, 6th round pick, and a 2021 4th round pick. So really, the only value there, in my opinion, is this year's 1st round pick. The other 3 are later rounds, and you know, you don't really know what you're going to get with those kind of picks. So great move by the Bills to get themselves a quality, I would say top 15, top 20 wide receiver, something that they really need, because Josh Allen is still coming into his own in the league, really has not had a great target to throw to in Buffalo. So that should definitely help them. They also signed free agent quarterback Josh Norman, who's a multi-time Pro Bowler, most recently with the Washington Redskins. So great move there by the Bills. They still have a lot of cap space left to make some more moves. And now with Brady leaving the AFC East, the Bills, in my opinion, have to be the clear-cut favorites in the AFC East. Dolphins have a lot of cap room. They may get better this offseason. They're still rebuilding. The Jets are just kind of the Jets. They're not very good. And the Patriots now licking their wounds after losing Brady, and you may see some more guys out the door in New England. So the Bills have a clear path to winning the AFC East. I really don't see anybody standing in their way. And they're only going to get better with the more moves that they make. So great offseason so far by the local team, the Buffalo Bills. Some other notable NFL acquisitions in the past week. A lot of quarterbacks changing homes. Phillip Rivers going from the LA Chargers to the Indianapolis Colts. He signed a 1-year deal to become their quarterback. Good move by the Colts. I think Rivers still has a good year or two left in his arm. Teddy Bridgewater leaving the New Orleans Saints, heading to the Carolina Panthers to be their starting quarterback, which opens the door for Cam Newton to leave. The Panthers announced during the week, shortly after they signed Teddy Bridgewater, that Cam Newton is available in trades. Newton says, I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I want to stay a Panther. Panthers have other plans, however, for Cam. Let's see where he ends up. Maybe he goes to New England to be their starting quarterback. Denver Broncos, in the past 24 hours, signed running back Melvin Gordon. So they're trying to beef up their backfield. If I'm Melvin Gordon, though, I'm not sure if Denver's really the team I want to go to. They really don't have a great quarterback. They have no weapons on offense, so they're going to key in on him. There had to have been other teams that were interested in Gordon, but he got a 2-year, $16 million deal, $8 million a year. My thought is he went where the money was. You can't blame the guy for that, but if I want to win a championship, I'm probably not going to go to the Denver Broncos. Not right now, at least. And Drew Brees coming back to the Saints to be their quarterback for another season. Hall of Famer Drew Brees, the guy who is the all-time leading passer in the NFL, easily a Hall of Famer. So a lot of moves. Marcus Mariota, who was the number 2 pick in the 2015 draft, right behind Jameis Winston, heading to a new team. He was benched this past season in the middle of the season by the Titans. Ends up with the Oakland Raiders to go and challenge Derek Carr for the starting quarterback job. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of free agency plays out. And, there was a lot of talk by people nationally about should the NFL even have free agency right now? Is this a good time for it with everything going on? Seeing these guys, sign contracts that are worth millions and millions of dollars. But sports needs something right now, though, Brian. There's nothing going on. And I understand that it's not a good visual when people are struggling right now. They're losing their jobs and we're all hunkering down and trying to pinch pennies during this difficult time. But at the same time, we need some entertainment. And really, that's what professional sports is. That's what the NFL is. It's entertainment. And whether it's, this week that they started free agency or if it's 2 months from now, these guys are still going to get the same amount of money. So why not let sports fans have some sort of entertainment and enjoyment during this time when, we're all sitting home with, trying to find things to do. So I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a nice change, gives us something to pay attention to distract us from everything that's going on. And also, I also want to talk about the local connection. Eric Armstead, defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers. He has some connections. His fiancée is from Arkport. Just re-signed with the San Francisco 49ers, 5 years, $85 million. Congratulations to Eric Armstead. Great signing, both for Eric to stay with the organization that he has grown with over the past few years, and a great signing for the 49ers because they're getting a great quality player in Eric Armstead. So he'll be back with the Niners for at least 5 years. So that's my NFL update. Wanted to talk about that a little bit and keep everybody abreast of what's going on in the NFL. When we come back from our break, we're going to have with us here in studio Lillian Mullen. Lillian is an 8th grader playing on the varsity girls basketball team for Canisteo Greenwood, who had a tremendous season this year. We're going to talk to Lillian about the season, about what she's doing now, and about her accomplishments when we come back here on the Prete on 92.1 The Team.
This local sports show here on 92.1 The Team is brought to you in part by Rhonda Wilsey. Spring is here. Now's the time to buy or sell your home. When choosing a local real estate agent, choose someone with 2 decades of experience. Rhonda Wilsey has been helping people like you find their new home for over 18 years. Call Rhonda Wilsey at 607-382-4539 or email Rhonda at rhondawilsey@howardhanna.com.
Do you lead an active lifestyle? Are you trying to reach that next level in your fitness or active lifestyle? Stop into Next Level Wellness in Hornell. Next Level Wellness offers CBD options that help promote muscle recovery and regrowth. Their CBD products are the perfect addition to pre- and post-workouts. CBD helps reduce inflammation, allowing you to recover faster from workouts. If you're ready to step up your training or take your game to the next level, then stop into Next Level Wellness or shop online at nxlevelwellness.com. Next Level Wellness, 10 Seneca Street, Hornell, or call 607-385-3188 for more info.
Thanks for listening to Dave Prete here on 92.1 The Team. Dave's show is brought to you by great sponsors like the Spotlight Theater of Hornell. Today's a great day for a movie. Showing at Spotlight of Hornell this weekend is The Call of the Wild, Onward, and The Invisible Man. For showtimes, check out Spotlight of Hornell on Facebook, spotlighttheaters.com, or call their movie line at 607-661-4695 to get the lineup of great movies. That's 661-4695 to get the list of movies showing at the Spotlight Theater in Hornell.
All right, back here on the Prete on 92.1 The Team. I'm your host, Dave Prete. A couple of quick announcements before we get to our in-studio guest, Lillian Mullen. The Hornell Sports Night, which was scheduled for May 9th, has been postponed until September. No further details are available at this time. However, it has been postponed and details will be forthcoming, so look for those if you are planning on attending Sports Night, Hornell Sports Night on Saturday, May 9th. I'd also like to thank one of the sponsors of today's show, Rhonda Wilsey of the Howard Hanna Agency in Hornell. located at 83 Main Street. Rhonda can help you with any of your realty needs, whether you're buying or selling. Get a hold of Rhonda either at 607-382-4539 or visit her website, which is rhondawilsey.howardhanna.com. So thank you to Rhonda Wilsey and Howard Hanna Agency for sponsoring today's show. So we have in studio Lillian Mullen, who was a member of the Canisteo Greenwood ladies varsity basketball team. Lillian, welcome.
Hi.
So we're here to talk about the tremendous season that not only you individually had as a member of the team, but also the tremendous season that your team had as well. The Canisteo Greenwood girls varsity basketball team went 18-4 this year. Lost in the quarterfinals to Letchworth, who later went on to win the finals. But what's more amazing is you guys had a really young team. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now you're in 8th grade, playing on a varsity, and your dad, who's in studio with you, hi Luke.
Hi Dave.
Thanks for coming. Said you scored 427 points this year.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal, especially from an 8th grader who's playing varsity. You're playing with girls who are in 11th, 12th grade that have been had long careers. That's really impressive. So tell me about your experience playing as a starter on the varsity team as an 8th grader. Like, what was it like?
Well, this year it felt more normal because I played last year as a 7th grader, so I kind of got all my nerves out last year and knew what to expect this year. So I felt like I just fit right in. It was normal.
And you guys had an awesome season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me was there one game that stood out to you at all?
Probably the game that I scored. Actually, there's a game that me, Liz, and Savannah all had 7 assists and all scored really high, and we played really well as a team that game. That was probably one of my favorite games.
That's awesome. I went to a few of your games, and man, you guys really put the and I'm saying this, of course, as respectfully as possible, but there were some teams that you really, really put the beat down on, and the future looks great for you guys. I mean, because you're a young team. You're only going to grow that much more in the years to come. So it is a great accomplishment playing for a varsity team and being so successful at that level, and I'm sure it's come with a lot of hard work and dedication. Tell me what drives your success. How much time do you spend practicing per day or per week to hone your skills and get you to where you're at?
Well, usually we do AAU basketball, so we practice through about 3 times a week for that. And then I have a court at my house, so I'll go outside and do ball handling and shoot and do that whenever I'm free and have time. And we do summer basketball camps and stuff to get prepared. And then probably stuff that drives my successes is I'm really competitive, so I just want to get as good as I can and beat the person I'm playing against. But also my parents who take me places and support me and stuff, and then all the coaches that put in a lot of hard work and help us with everything.
And I'm talking with Lillian Mullen, member of the Canisteo Greenwood girls varsity basketball team. So your head coach, Les York, he's been the head coach in Canisteo Greenwood for a number of years. If I were to ask him, tell me about Lillian Mullen, what would he tell me about you as the player and you as the person?
He'd probably say that I don't show a lot of emotion when I'm playing basketball. I never really show too much emotion, but I think he would say good stuff.
So you got ice in your veins?
Yeah.
That's good. A lot of the great athletes, I was just talking about Tom Brady earlier because, I'm a Buccaneers fan. He went to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That guy, I don't think, shows any emotion. He has ice in his veins, and look at how successful he is. So that's a great characteristic to have, because you can't let them see a sweat out there, right? Mm-hmm. Even if you are a little bit nervous, a little bit unsteady, you got to show them you're still in charge. So you talked about playing AAU basketball. Tell me a little bit about that. What is AAU for people who don't know? How does that work? Where do you play? What teams do you play? Do you play against girls who you see in the regular season when you're playing for Canisteo Greenwood?
So AAU is after our regular season in the spring usually.
And AAU stands for Amateur Athletic Union Basketball, better known as AAU.
And we don't usually see as many girls as I play against because we play in an 8th and 9th grade division. So there's no 10th, 11th, or 12th graders playing in that. And we usually do like 6 or 7 tournaments, but they can be anywhere. Most of ours are in Rochester, but there's some in Canandaigua that we do. And it's like to just get ready for next year and really get strong in basketball and build more skills and stuff.
So obviously we're living in a time where everything's been shut down. We also talked about that earlier here on the show. AAU, is that something that starts now or has already started that's been postponed? What's going on with that? Has the corona shutdown or postponements affected AAU?
Yeah, it has. We were supposed to have a tournament last week. It started about 2 weeks ago. We started practicing. We were supposed to have a tournament last weekend, but got canceled, and tournaments until I don't even know when, like many have gotten canceled because of the coronavirus.
So do you think this will be a season this year, or will they push it back?
I think they'll probably push it back if they do one.
Okay, yeah, it's affecting all sports. Obviously, I mean, you're involved or have been involved with other school sports as well, but all the spring sports at the youth and high school and college levels have all been postponed, at least for now, and which is really too bad because, there's a lot of athletes who look forward to, whatever sport it is. A lot of them play spring sports. So everything that's going on has affected a lot of people in a lot of different ways. How about the camps? Are there any specific camps that you go to over the summer that you attend regularly or that you're looking forward to?
So during the summer, I'm going to do the Avoca Shoot the Lights Out basketball camp, and this will be my 3rd year going to that. And I'm planning on going to the Point Guard U camp in Cancerega also, and I did that for the first time last year, so this will be my 2nd time doing that one.
And I'm talking with Lillian Mullen, member of the Canisteo Greenwood girls varsity basketball team. So do you think these camps will also be affected, or maybe too early to tell?
I have no idea. Probably too early, but who knows?
Yeah. Now, Dad, Luke.
Yes.
How do you manage such a busy schedule like this? I know it's hard, and you have 2 other kids as well who are involved in sports.
Yes, I do. It's very interesting. My wife and I juggle a lot of things. I also run the youth softball program.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
Between that, this is actually a weird time in our life right now because I think it's the first time since the kids were not in school that we actually went a week without doing anything after work. So it's been kind of nice hanging out with the kids, and we'll see where it goes, I guess.
I can say the same thing. I've learned a lot about my kids that I didn't know about normally because I've had that extra time to talk to them, and I love them to pieces, but man, they have some different habits to them that I wasn't aware of. And so have you been driving Mom and Dad nuts during this little lockdown, Lillian?
I mean, I'm trying not to, but I don't know, maybe.
She's got a big grin on her face. Lillian, thanks for coming in. Again, congratulations on such a successful season. Great accomplishments. I mean, I would be shocked if by the end of your tenure with the basketball team, assuming you stay with it, which I'm assuming you will, yeah. If you're not by far the leading scorer to come out of Canisteo Greenwood. But also I'm really excited about the fact that you guys have a great team set up for years to come.
We're not worried about that, Dave. The main thing we want to do is win a sectional championship worse than anything, and we've got a great group of kids in this 8th and 9th grade class, great group of parents that are very committed, and more than anything, we want to put a sectional banner up on the wall someday. And
that's great, and I'm glad that you have that team concept. And actually, Luke, you are one of the coaches on the JV, Canisteo Greenwood JV basketball team, you and your father, Mac.
Yes, my dad's the head coach, and I'm the unpaid assistant.
I've been unpaid assistant quite a bit. Yeah, it's still fun, but it'd be nice, to get paid a little something. There's a lot of time you put into it. Are there any girls coming up through the ranks that you coached this year in JV that, we can, whose names we can look forward to seeing in, the next year or two?
Well, I think all the girls that are doing AAU right now, it's Lillian, Elaine Roach, Peyton Peters, and Brooke Bird. All 4 of them were on the JV or on the varsity team this year. Then Kennedy Richardson, Caitlin Forshee, Keegan Stewart, they were on JVs, and they're playing on our travel team too. So, and the 3 Allen girls, they played basketball last year, Ashley, Gracie, and Caitlin. And there's a couple other ones that I'm sure I'm forgetting. Sarah Coddington did very good for us last year. So if I forget to mention anybody's name, I apologize. But it's a great group of girls. And like I said, we're hoping everybody sticks with it. And we really want to hopefully win a sectional championship someday. The school's never won one down there in boys or girls basketball. So we'll see where it goes.
And speaking of the boys program, and I know you're not directly involved with it, but I know you follow it closely. They actually have a pretty good team set up for the next few years, too, as well, correct?
Yeah, they've got a couple young guys. They had Hunter McCaffrey and Cole Ferris that were only sophomores, and Nick Button, too, that were only sophomores on varsity. So they've got some young guys coming up through, too.
Great. So lots of good things ahead for the men's and women's, boys and girls, I guess, is that what you call it, varsity programs at the Canisteo Greenwood School. Now the big things, let's just get back to playing some sports, right? Hopefully everything goes back to normal here in the next few weeks, and we can get back to normal lives as we know it, and which includes, sports, playing sports. Until then, though, hang in there, Lillian. Thanks again for coming in. Good luck if you do get to play AAU and at your camps this summer. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a tremendous athlete, tremendous person, too. I know you personally.
Thank you.
Your parents should be very proud of you. And you're a good student athlete, too, which is very important because you got to do good in school, right?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And we'll hopefully have you on again maybe sometime in the future, maybe start of next season.
Yeah.
You can give us an update how things look. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. Have a great day, and thanks again for coming on. This is
Dave.
Dave Prete on the Prete is On.
This local sports show here on 92.1 The Team is brought to you in part by Rhonda Wilsey. Spring is here. Now's the time to buy or sell your home. When choosing a local real estate agent, choose someone with 2 decades of experience. Rhonda Wilsey has been helping people like you find their new home for over 18 years. Call Rhonda Wilsey at 607-382-4539 or email Rhonda at rhondawilsey@howardhanna.com.
Do you lead an active lifestyle? Are you trying to reach that next level in your fitness or active lifestyle? Stop into Next Level Wellness in Hornell. Next Level Wellness offers CBD options that help promote muscle recovery and regrowth. Their CBD products are the perfect addition to pre- and post-workouts. CBD helps reduce inflammation, allowing you to recover faster from workouts. If you're ready to step up your training or take your game to the next level, then stop into Next Level Wellness or shop online at nxlevelwellness.com. Next Level Wellness, 10 Seneca Street, Hornell, or call 607-385-3188 for more info.
Thanks for listening to Dave Prete here on 92.1 The Team. Dave's show is brought to you by great sponsors like the Spotlight Theater of Hornell. Today's a great day for a movie. Showing at Spotlight of Hornell this weekend is The Call of the Wild, Onward, and The Invisible Man. For showtimes, check out Spotlight of Hornell on Facebook, spotlighttheaters.com, or call their movie line at 607-661-4695 to get the lineup of great movies. That's 661-4695 to get the list of movies showing at the Spotlight Theater in Hornell.
Welcome back to the Prete is On. This is your host, Dave Prete, on 92.1 The Team. And I have on phone with us local celebrity, Bill Dugan. Bill, former offensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks. And Bill, thanks, and Penn State Nittany Lions. I got to get that in there. Bill, thanks for joining us today.
Sure, Dave. I wouldn't go so far as to say celebrity, but nice to be on your show.
Well, to me, you're a celebrity, Bill. You always will be. So, Bill, you obviously are, keep your pulse on the what's going on around football, and especially in the NFL, having had that experience earlier in your life and in your career. What do you think about? And earlier, I had mentioned some of the moves that were made this past week, in particular Tom Brady going to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think about that move? A guy who played for 20 seasons with one team, took them to 9 Super Bowls, won 6 of them, 4-time NFL MVP. They call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and I'm not going to argue with that. What do you think about a guy who's played that long for one organization, one coach, Bill Belichick, all of a sudden finishing his career now with a different team? I know we've seen Joe Montana do it, but this is Tom Brady.
You know, I got mixed feelings about that. I really think Brady's career is pretty much wound up. I don't think they're going to see a big productivity out of him, and he's going to be making a lot of money and a lot more than he would have made in New England. I mean, you know, the guy's 42, 43 years old. He's got no mobility anymore. You know, he's kind of been pampered his whole life because he had the greatest coach that ever coached the game, as far as I'm concerned, Belichick. You know, he's kind of led a sheltered life in New England. I just don't see him, and you know, and it's the same with Montana and Brett Favre and all these other guys. Peyton Manning, they maybe had one good year when they went on, but they really didn't. You know, it really wasn't like they're going to go down there and save the franchise. I don't see that happening. You know, I hope he does well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not wishing well. But I've seen it in the past. I just don't think that the productivity is going to be anywhere near what it was in his prime in New England.
As a Bucs fan, I hope you're wrong, but I do agree with you to some level. But here's another question for you then regarding the Buccaneers. If you're Jason Light, the general manager, you're the owners, you know, the Glazers, is Tom Brady still a better option, even with him going to be 43 years old to start the season, than their previous quarterback, Jameis Winston, who they drafted number 1 overall in the 2015 draft? He really, really didn't show, even though he's very talented and I think has a lot of potential, didn't show a lot of progression with the Bucs. Would you still rather have Brady over Jameis Winston?
Oh, that's definitely for sure. I never thought much of Winston. I knew he was very immature coming out of college. I knew he had a lot of issues in college legally, and you know, just doing stupid things. And you know, he just never matured to be able to run a ball club and have that maturity to come out there to lead the Buccaneers and to really turn them into a winner. And I think this is definitely a better move over him.
Okay, so the Bills now seem to have a clear-cut path to the AFC East title, you would think, with Brady leaving, the Patriots making some changes. Do you see that division now, that the Bills maybe taking over as maybe the new Patriots, where they run the table for a few years?
Well, I wouldn't count the Patriots out yet. You know, I mean, they're losing one player, and you know they've been drafting at the bottom of the draft every year for 20 years now, and look where they are. I mean, you know, you got to hand it to Belichick. You know, he replaces players with players, and you know, I hope it's Buffalo at the top of the pack. But you know, like I said, I wouldn't count New England out yet until we see them play a little bit this year.
So who do you replace the GOAT with? There's guys out that we just mentioned, Jameis Winston. Winston's a free agent. There's Cam Newton, whose name has been thrown out there that the Panthers want to try to seek a trade for Newton because they just signed Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe it's a guy that they draft in the first round or second round. What direction do you see the Patriots going in? I mean, you probably know as well as I do. Bill Belichick always has something up his sleeve. But he also seems to kind of be the guy that likes some consistency.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to, obviously you're not going to take a rookie and expect him to walk right into that system and start. You know, I'm sure he's kicking himself. Well, he's mad still probably that they got rid of Garoppolo, or however you pronounce it, when they ended up trading him to San Francisco. And, because he would have been an ideal to step in right now and replace Brady, but, obviously that's not going to happen. I see him going, I mean, there's quite a few good quarterbacks on the market right now. I see him shopping around and bringing a few in and going with some experience in that position.
Yeah, I said a couple of years ago when they traded Garoppolo to the 49ers that was going to be a move that they regret because Brady's not going to be around forever, and that guy...
Yeah, Belichick knew that too. He knew that that was kind of a conspiracy with Brady and Kraft because they knew that he was ready to play and wanted to play, and Brady wasn't ready to give up his position. And I think they bumped heads. Belichick and Kraft and Brady, they all bumped heads on this one.
There's a whole lot of ego right there, Brady, Belichick, and Kraft.
Yeah, it really hurt the team. There's no reason why they should have not weaned Garoppolo into the lineup back, then, and told Brady, hey, listen, This guy's. I mean, you know, they did it with Brady with Bledsoe. Remember when everybody said, "Oh my God, Bledsoe's going to replace Bledsoe with Brady."
That's right.
No, you know that's the game.
Yeah, it's a business, and people come and they go, and you know you see it all the time. But it's just shocking, I think, to a lot of people, myself included, just to see him leave New England when that's the only place he's been for 20 years. You know, and you heard rumors he was going to go here, he was going to go there, but nobody really, truly thought it was going to happen until it happened. So let's move on now. People who don't know you, Bill, probably may not know you were an offensive lineman in the early 80s for the Penn State Nittany Lions under Joe Paterno, and then later in the mid-'80s for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like playing for the Seahawks? I know it's a different organization. It's a different game now. It's, you know, things have changed and evolved over the past, couple decades. But what was it like being down in the trenches on an NFL football field?
It was definitely different. It was definitely a step above the college level. I mean, Penn State, I was used to an environment where we used to run the ball. We had great running backs. We had a great running scheme. And 70-80% of our game plan when I was in college was running the football. And we had Kurt Warner and Booker Moore and Matt Suey when I was there, and we had some great running backs. And then I transitioned to Seattle, and that was pretty much we were catcher's mitts as offensive linemen because all we could do was really throw. Because when I was out there, really they never really could consistently establish a running game. That was back in the early '80s when the Redskins were running Riggins, and the Redskins were just tearing the field up, running the ball, and they were dominating the league. And, we had Zorn and Largent, who were good. They were great at what they did. But, you just couldn't rely on that passing game every play. The third down, they knew you had to pass. 3rd and 3, they knew you couldn't get 3 yards running the ball. And I had an adjustment to that. And, it really kind of, you can never really be a consistent winner if you can't run the ball. I've always thought that. And, your greatest teams are ones that can chew up the clock, dominate the game, and run the ball. And, we didn't have that with Seattle. It was, it was kind of a little annoying, but.
Now, Jim Zorn was your quarterback in the years that you played. He is now the head coach of the Seattle
Dragons.
The Dragons, thank you, the XFL team, which, of course, the XFL had to cut their season short because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So what kind of guy is Jim Zorn, first of all? And second of all, do you see the XFL surviving any length of time? I got to tell you, I watched it, man, and I'm sticking with the Tampa Bay theme. I'm a Tampa Bay Vipers fan. I did not miss one game. I found the game very entertaining. However, I also know that, everybody ultimately goes right back to the NFL. So talk to me first about Jim Zorn, and then give me your thoughts on the XFL.
When I went out there, Jim Zorn was the starter, and he'd already been there. I think he started like 70, right when the franchise came into the league, 76, 77, right in there, and he was a very nice guy. I mean, he was a super guy to play for, but he was another example that he was good. But he got gun-shy towards the end of his career because he had got hit so hard so many times that he wouldn't stay in the pocket anymore. As soon as he heard those thundering footsteps coming at him, he'd run out of the pocket. And, it kind of made his game inconsistent a little bit, And then they brought in Dave Craig. And, here's another example of quarterbacks knowing when it's time to go. They brought in Dave Craig, who immediately just showed leadership and took the team over. And, they replaced him. They didn't hesitate to replace him. And, his career was pretty much over after that.
Okay, we're talking with Bill Dugan, Hornell native and former offensive lineman for the Penn State Nittany Lions and the Seattle Seahawks. So let's talk about the XFL. Did you watch any of the XFL this season, Bill?
I did. I thought it was pretty good football.
Yeah,
now you're talking to a guy that also played in a competitive league too. I played in the USFL back in 19 1985. I mean, the USFL went from 83 to 85. And I'm telling you, we had some really good football back then. Competitive football. We were signing big people out of college, you know, and we were doing great. Our big mistake was when our team tried to go against the NFL head-to-head in the fall. We were great. We would have made it as a spring league. But we tried to go head-to-head with – nobody's going to compete with the NFL in the fall. If the XFL takes that course, they continue to try to do what they're doing and play with their players, yes, and they got a great chance to survive. Because people – you know, football is a big sport in this country. People will watch it year-round if they've got a quality product. And, you know, what I've seen, just is what you said, to reiterate what you said, I think it's some good football.
I like some of the rules that they have. Instead of the extra point, you have the 2-point conversion from the 3-yard line, the 3-point from the 5, and the 2, 3, and then the 5-point conversion from the 10-yard line. I mean, that's some pretty creative stuff that I could maybe see the NFL adopting down the road. You know, the kickoffs, they both line up 5 yards apart, the front lines, and then you have the kicker, 20 yards back kicking the ball off to the receiver. You can't pursue the kick returner until the ball is caught. I mean, I know that that's more of a safety issue than it was, just trying to change the strategy of the game or whatever, but it seemed to really work. And when I looked at some of those games, there was 20 to 30,000 fans, especially in Seattle. And the fans in Seattle are pretty passionate about football, so it wasn't surprising for me to see, 3/4 of the stadium full when they were playing games out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I like the rule changes too myself. One thing is going to happen. The NFL is going to pick their talent apart. Anytime somebody starts to shine in that league, boom, he's moving up to the next level. And I consider the NFL would be the top level. And all those guys' ambitions are to play in the NFL.
Yeah,
and once you see a good talent, you're probably not going to see them there very long, and that's going to hurt their that's going to hurt their ratings and stuff. But I like everything I've seen in that league. I like the rule changes that they've made. I kind of feel sorry for what they're making compared to the NFL, but that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, considering that they're putting their bodies out there just as much as an NFL
exactly,
player
they're doing
does.
the same thing, and that's going back to when I played in the alternate league for 1 year as opposed to the NFL. I'm glad I did not stay in that league because I have absolutely no benefits or anything, health-wise, retirement-wise, or anything that I would have gotten out of that league. So, I could have, if that league stayed around and I played 10 years in that league, I could be a walking mess right now. And, I would be, it would be too bad, and there would be no pension benefits, no concussions or any of this stuff. So, people got to think twice when they start, put their bodies through all that and look at the long-term effects and what they got coming once they're at a certain age.
Absolutely. And they do have a mastermind who's running the league, who owns the league, Vince McMahon, who, if anybody's even moderately a wrestling fan, professional wrestling, they know he owns was WWF, now WWE. So he is a billionaire who has, built the professional wrestling industry, and now he did dabble in starting the XFL back in the year 2000. And again, I think they, if I'm not mistaken, they tried to go head-to-head with the NFL or something like that, and it didn't work out. But he's back for round 2, and he seems to be working out. Now, today it was announced that XFL players are allowed to sign with an NFL team starting Monday the 23rd, this coming Monday. So we'll see. That'll be interesting to see if or how many XFL players end up signing with an NFL team. I know there was a couple of guys that really stood out. P.J. Daniels, I believe, is the quarterback of the Houston Roughnecks, and he was in the leader to be the XFL MVP if the season would have finished out. So we'll see how many of these guys, go on to play in the NFL. So one more question for you, Bill, and this is Bill Dugan that we have on the phone with us. You played at Penn State. You played for Joe Paterno. I think everybody knows what happened and, about, 8 years ago, 10 years ago with that whole program and what it went through. And unfortunately, Joe's legend was affected by the actions of one of his coaches, with the child molestation scandal.
Yep.
But tell me what it was like. And I've heard great stories about Joe Paterno, what a great man he was. Tell me a little bit about Joe and what it was like to play for him.
I'll tell you what, Joe was a straight-laced, heads up. He was a really strict, hard coach to play for, but he was a rewarding coach in the same breath. And that guy didn't have a bad bone or corrupt bone in his body. And the Sandusky scandal, obviously, it just devastated him to the point where I think that it actually put him in his grave. And I'm sorry about that. It's too bad about that, because that wasn't him. That was something that went on. What I will say that Joe, one of Joe's problem towards the end of his career was he lost control of that program totally. And when you cannot run a football program when you're in your mid 80s. It's just not going to happen anymore. He did it, and he was good at certain aspects of it, but he didn't have really control of the program anymore. And then that's how things like that festered. And and he didn't want to believe that Sandusky. He probably heard the rumors that maybe it was happening, but he didn't want to believe it. And he probably didn't want to tarnish the program and come out and be the one to say anything. And it really hurt in the long run. But actually knowing, if he had actual proof, Sandusky would have been in jail a long time ago. But, that was a conspiracy between a lot of heads down there, the president, the campus police chief. And, that's what happened. And, I'm sorry, but I loved to play for Joe. I thought he was, that was the best choice I'd ever made, was to go to Penn State and play for him.
Yeah, he seemed like he was a victim of circumstance for sure. And the program has really turned itself around. It went through a period there of a few years after that scandal where they really struggled. They had sanctions put on them. But now they're right back in the the national title picture. They were a top 10 team for most of this past year, and I believe last year as well. So they've really kind of dug themselves out of the grave, so to speak, and turned it around. And I know it's it's one of the top 5 most followed or popular programs in the country.
Oh, definitely. There, you'll never see anything like when you go into that stadium on a Saturday. I mean, you're talking 105, 106,000 people in that that pretty much rural area. It's just an unbelievable sight. And even back when I played, we had 85,000 people there. I mean, you're talking the late 70s. I mean, that's a lot of people, and it shows you how much they really like that program down there. Now, if they can learn to beat Ohio State, I'll be really happy with it.
Yeah, well, as a non-Ohio State fan, I wish that would happen. Maybe this coming season it will. But, man, 85 to 100,000 people, man, you got to have nerves of steel for that. So the man behind the glass, Brian O'Neill, wants me to ask you, Bill, about your bench pressing competition or your bench pressing ability at Penn State.
Well, actually, I'm probably still on the record board down there, but obviously they didn't really keep track of strength like they do now. I mean, we didn't really. I mean, what we lifted and what we did was just our own personal bests, and I would definitely be on the charts down there if they actually did it, recorded it, but unfortunately, I think Saquon Barkley is on it. Like he did like 440 or 445 down there, which is pretty impressive for a running back.
Oh my gosh, that guy's a beast, and man, what a great pickup by the Giants a couple years ago in the draft.
He's definitely he's loaded with talent and tools.
Yeah, and I think if you put him on most other teams, he doesn't have a whole lot to work with there in New York, but if you put him on half the other teams, that guy's leading the league easily in rushing, which, maybe if the Giants get a little bit better here in the next year or two, he'll do. But I love watching him run. And, yes, of course, he's a Penn State product. So, Bill, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Anytime we get to talk to you is is a treat. You got some great stories about your college, days at Penn State, about your pro days with the Seahawks. Don't be a stranger, and as it gets closer to the NFL season, I'd like to have you back on.
Well, listen, so one of these times I do want to get back on, because one issue we didn't get to was the collective bargaining agreement, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that. But maybe the next show we'll get to talk about that, because I went through 2 strikes for these guys, and, I'd just like to give you my opinion on that.
Yeah, why don't we do that? In fact, with the lull in local sports right now, as you know, everything is shut down due to the COVID-19. Maybe we can make some time next week on next week's show. If you're game, we'll get on next week's show and we'll talk about collective bargaining, because that's a huge story right now in the NFL and something that I really would like to talk to.
I've been following it really close, and I definitely will do that with you. But I'm not coming up there and sitting next to you. I'm with a little social spacing here. So if you call me at home, we'll talk about it and we'll have a good show.
Yeah, we'll call you. That sounds good. I don't want to have anyone get the corona.
All right, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. That was Bill Dugan here, our Hornell native, also former member of the Penn State Nittany Lions and the Seattle Seahawks. This is the 2-minute warning, and this is your host, Dave Prete. The Prete is on. And I want to talk about the situation that everyone right now is having to endure, which is the coronavirus, the COVID-19, and all the inconveniences that come with it. We're all creatures of habit. We're all used to doing certain things. We're all used to being able to go out and sit in a restaurant with our families and enjoy dinner, or go into one of the local establishments, having a drink with our friends, being able to walk into a store and go shopping as we please with little to no distractions or any type of confrontations. But this past week has really, really challenged us as human beings and as individuals to come out of our comfort zone and to try and do things that we're not used to doing, to really focus on the things that we normally take for granted. Right now, especially, is a good time for us to take advantage of the time that the government and the local officials and people in charge have asked us to stay home, and enjoy that time with our families. Watch a movie together. Enjoy the comfort in the company of your children or your parents. Watch some movies that you've been wanting to watch. Read a book you've been wanting to read. Learn how to play some games. My 13-year-old son, just taught me last night how to play Fortnite. So this is a perfect opportunity and a perfect time for us to come together to be safe and stay healthy, but also to enjoy the company of others now more than ever. And don't fret, we'll get through this. We're a strong nation. We're a strong country. And the powers that be are working on finding a way to overcome this pandemic. But in the meantime, be patient, be safe, use your common sense, and do what's asked of you so that we can flatten that curve of this virus. Enjoy the time at home in the company of your loved ones, and don't take that for granted. This is a 2-minute warning with your host, Dave Prete, on the Prete is on 92.1, The Team. We'll talk to you next Saturday morning at 9 a.m., same time, same place. Have a good week, everyone.
Area restaurants are closed, but many are offering takeout and delivery, including Milliner Southern Smoke, 66 River Street, Hornell, Annie's Restaurant, 2 Greenwood Street, Canastillo, Duke's Main Street Pizza at 38 North Main Street in Alfred, Nickel Brew Restaurant, 3 East Main Street, Canastillo. Generally speaking, if you would like to order food from your favorite restaurant, call them first. Catholic Charities Hornell Turning Point has effective this coming Monday. Non-contact pantry visits are by delivery only. Call to schedule the delivery at 324-3457. Governor Cuomo has ordered all personal care services such as hair and nail salons, tattoo or piercing salons, and related services to be closed to the public effective 8 p.m. on Saturday. Also, bowling alleys, amusement parks, theaters, gyms, retail shopping malls, all closed by order of the governor. Keep listening for further updates.
You don't have to wait for amazing deals on a new floor. Get spring Black Friday deals right now at Lumber Liquidators Flooring. This week, save up to 35% on gorgeous hardwood and waterproof vinyl floors. Plus, we can arrange for installation by professional, independent contractors. And with special financing, you can get started today. These are the floors homes are built on. Lumber Liquidators Flooring.